Hallo folkens, da skal jeg inn i et Zoom-møte med en tidligere Manchester United-spiller Keith Gillespie. Gillespie han var en del av overgangen da United kjøpte Andy Cole fra Newcastle. I dag skal vi snakke litt om den overgangen. Vi skal snakke om hvordan det var å være ung spiller under Ferguson, og om han har noen kule, berømte hairdryer-historier å fortelle. Husk, trykk på den røde abonner-knappen, trykk på bjella, så får du varsel om når neste episode kommer. You got your debut for Man United against Bury in the FA Cup, where you won 2-0. You scored a goal. Can you tell us how you prepared for that game and how that experience was for you to score for Man United and get your debut?
To be fair, I didn't find out until a few hours before kickoff that I was playing. So I had been in the first team squad a few times, and just in the squad and having that experience of being in and around the squad, but I was never picked or never sub. And this particular game, I'd come to the ground and we had a pre-match at the ground. And I remember I was sat opposite Paul Parker, and we were having a pre-match meal, and the manager walked past, and Paul Parker, says to the manager, "Is Giggsy fit?" Because there was a doubt whether Ryan Giggs would be fit, and he said no. And he sort of just pointed at me and said, "Sure, he can play." And that was his way of telling me that I was making my debut. So, the debut couldn't have gone any better. I put the cross in for Mike Phelan, who scored the first and obviously scored in the second. So I think the surreal thing for me was, 18 months prior to this, I was still at school. So to sort of make that leap from school, and then 18 months later I was playing for Man United was just an incredible feeling. And I remember even ringing home after the game, and this is before mobile phones, and I'm ringing from the digs I was staying in, and they didn't know that I was playing, because we didn't have the same what we do now in terms of social media and how to find things out and Google and so they didn't even know I was playing. So it was a great thrill for everyone.
A dream debut for you. You couldn't have done better, so good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
In 1995, you were a part of the transfer when Andy Cole went to Man United and you went the opposite way. How did you take that news, and how did you experience to go to Newcastle?
Well, we were playing a game against an FA Cup game against Sheffield United that night, and I was in the squad, and I'd played the previous Premiership game at home to Coventry, and we'd won 3-0, and there was a bit of a bout of flu going about, and a lot of players were ill in that. And Andrei Kanchelskis, who was obviously a right winger as well, was had the flu, and I'd played the previous game, and I thought, yep, I'm going to play tonight. But when I got to the ground and the team was announced, subs was announced, I wasn't involved. And I remember Alex Ferguson pulled me aside and mentioned, he was in for a striker at Newcastle, and the only way the deal was going to happen is if I would go the other way. He said he would have been reluctant to let me go, but because of the ruling in Europe that you could only have so many foreigners at the time, and being from Nord-Irland, I was classified as a foreigner, and you only had to look at the foreigners that Man United had, with Schmeichel, and Dennis Irwin was a foreigner, McClare, Roy Keane, Mark Hughes, Cantona. Such a big list, so he really was desperate to get an English striker in. So he told me to think about it. There was no pressure on me. At the end of the day, the decision was going to be up to me, and if I turned it down, Andy Cole would not have went to Man United. So I think people think that because I was the sort of make-weight in that deal that I didn't have a say in it. And that I was just told that I was going. That's not the story. I did have an option to stay, and I just felt then that I was 19. Andre Kanchelskis was playing unbelievable at the time, football that season. So it was difficult for me to get past him. And I thought going to Newcastle, big club with, a great manager in Kevin Keegan, was a great opportunity for me to get regular football. It's not that I wanted to leave, but I think you've just got to look at the bigger picture. And for me, that was all about getting regular first team football.
Yeah, so you felt that it was the right move for you to develop as a young football player?
Well, absolutely. The funny thing behind it then is 6 months later, Andre Kanchelskis left the club.
Yeah.
So things could have been different. Man United then spoke to Newcastle to try and bring me back to Man United, and this was turned down. So, it's just one of those things. I had 4 great years at Newcastle and loved every minute of it. So, I wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you told me that, because I was just going to ask you if those rumors were true, that United wanted you back when Kanchelskis went to Everton.
Yes, Alex Ferguson rang me and explained what the situation. And the only reason I sort of found out was Gary Neville was on England duty, and Peter Beardsley and Kevin Keegan were like that. So they were, and they were on England duty, and Peter Beardsley told Gary Neville that Man United had bid 4 million to bring me back, but Newcastle turned it down. So I think a lot of players could have gone knocking on doors and demanded transfers and what have you, but that wasn't me. It was just one of those things that what will be, and I was meant to stay at Newcastle, and as I say, I had 4 great years there, and loved every minute of it.
Okay. So how did you take it when you couldn't go? Did you accept it, or were you a little disappointed that you couldn't go back to Man United? Or
no, I just accepted it.
Yeah.
I think it was an exciting time for Newcastle, because we'd just gone out and bought the likes of Les Ferdinand and David Ginola had come, and for me, it was just exciting to be sort of thinking, well, I'm the sort of guy who's one of the guys who's maybe going to be providing the balls here for somebody like Les Ferdinand, and the 95-96 season, everybody remembers it because of how close Newcastle came to win the league. So, I was part of a very entertaining football team in Newcastle. So, as I say, a lot of people would have, gone knocking on doors and asked for transfers, but that wasn't the way I went about things.
Yeah. Could you tell us how was it to be a young player under Sir Alex Ferguson, and did you ever get the famous hairdryer from him, or did you experience that from any? Do you have any good stories you can tell us?
Yeah, I mean, it was great to be under, work under somebody like Alex Ferguson. He was a scary character, especially for a young lad, because you didn't want to step out of line. And I never seen the hairdryer treatment in the dressing room. You've seen him sort of blow his top a few times, but the one time I did sort of think I was going to see it was one time I'd gone out on a Friday. I wasn't part of the squad the following day, and I'd gone to see some friends in town in Manchester, and I ended up in a hotel bar, and I'd ordered a couple of drinks, and I'd sort of just walked around a corner to where some sofas were, and I got about 10 yards away, and I looked up, and Alex Ferguson was sitting on one of the sofas with some people, and it was about 2:30 in the morning, and he sort of just glared at me, and I didn't really know what to do, so I just sort of turned and ran out of the hotel, and I didn't see him the next day because they were playing. Didn't see him on the Sunday. We had the day off, but I came in on Monday, and I was downstairs at the Cliff, the training ground, and I knew that I would be getting called up into the office, and Brian Kidd came in and said the manager wants to see you. So I walked up into the office, and he said, the only thing he said, he said, sit down. And the only thing he said after that was, he says, 1 week's wages for telling the truth, and 2 weeks' wages for lying. And I just went, look, boss, they weren't my drinks, they were my friends. And he went, 2 weeks' wages, so.
And that was the truth?
Oh, well, if I had told the truth, I would have got 1 week's wages, so I knew straight away. But yeah, so that was one time where I thought he was going to lose it. But you know, a young lad being out. I mean, I didn't feel as if I was doing anything wrong. I wasn't trained on the Saturday. I wasn't playing the Saturday. I'd gone to see some friends. But I think just that he thought sort of at a young age, you know, it's not somewhere I should have been. But you know, that's the way it was. But certainly after, you know, there was. He never mentioned it again to me. You know, I remember training later that morning, and he laughed about it. But you know, he obviously fined me 2 weeks' wages in the process.
So he was that kind of manager that when the case was finished, it was finished. So
certainly with me. You know, I think yeah, I'm still young, 18, 19, whatever it was, and you know, he probably makes allowances for that. But if you're somebody who would, you know, be regularly up in the manager's office, then you know you've got a problem. That was the only time I was ever up in the office, so you know that was fine. You know, he was fine with me from then on. Yeah,
that's good. Ole has been under a lot of pressure this season. He's been a manager for 1.5 years now. How will you summarize his period as a manager?
Yeah, I think he's had sort of, you know, points of those times where, you know, we've gone on a really good run. Certainly when he first came in, we had a great run. Then we had a terrible run. You know, last season was a good end of the season. Disappointing to actually, you know, not win anything considering how well they did in the cup competitions. That was disappointing. We've had a so-so start to the season, really poor at home, but we've played well away. We've won in the Champions League, but you know the performances at home in the league games have been awful. You know, to be sitting now with, you know, we haven't even won a league game at home this season. You know, we've been poor. Crystal Palace, you know, deservedly beat us. We didn't play well enough against Arsenal. We didn't do enough to beat Chelsea. You know, so it's been really disappointing, and it's all about finding, you know, your best 11, and I don't think he necessarily knows his best 11 at times. You know, there's some players I wouldn't be, you know, a big fan of that play. I'm not sure what's happening with Van de Beek, because when you go out and you spend 40 million on a player like that, you think, well, he's definitely going to improve the team, but he's not getting a chance. So I think that's disappointing. Hopefully that'll change, because I do think he is a really, really good player who could be top class. So it's all about finding your best 11. You know, as things are, you know, we're miles off Liverpool, you know, and that's unfortunately that's not. Yeah, no, that's not nice to say, because you know what we feel about Liverpool fans. But you know, hopefully, you know, maybe in January we might bring in a few more faces, and you know, get a settled side 11 that we know, if fit, we can pick our best 11, and we know what our best 11 is. At the minute, I feel as if we don't know that.
No. Do you think that
you're pretty much second guessing, you know, who we're going to play, which team's going to play this week? You know, we don't know whether midfield Matic plays sometimes, Fred plays, McTominay plays, Pogba. You know, you don't know who's going to play at all, and you know that's a frustrating bit. Yeah, I agree. Do you think that United has so many midfielders? Do you think it's a luxury problem, or do you think it's a problem for Ole to find the right combination? Well, I think it's trying to find the right combination as well, because I think if you look at sort of Pogba's performances, they have been really poor, and he's on the bench rightfully so, because he hasn't been good enough. You know, it's so frustrating, because I think everybody knows what a player he can be. You know, when he's on the top of his game, he's incredible. But you know, out of 10 games, we see that once or twice. We don't see that enough. So that's disappointing. And we're very fortunate, I think, in that we've got Bruno Fernandes, because without him, I think we'd be in real trouble.
Yeah.
And he seems like a real leader on the pitch. And his work rate is absolutely fantastic. So he's been incredible. But it's trying to find out who plays alongside him. And do we play two? At times we sort of play Fred and McTominay, and it's like two holding midfielders, and
it's difficult.
It is difficult. I'd like to see, if Van de Beek, if you can play him in there alongside Fernandes, because both of them have got great work rate. Both of them can score a goal.
Yeah.
They can assist as well. So it would be interesting to see if we could get them two in together.
Yeah, I think it's important for me when I watch United that they play with McTominay and Fred on the pitch at the same time, because when United play with three up front and with Bruno as well, and then from the back, they could attack more, and they could just McTominay and Fred can hold the team on the midfield.
Yeah, they can give you that insurance if things break down. There's them two are there to mop things up. But I totally agree that that is a formation that works for them. But in saying that, I was sort of more thinking, how do we get Van de Beek into the side then?
Yeah,
you have to somewhere or another, because you don't go out and spend £40 million on a full Dutch international who gets into the Dutch side.
Yeah.
I think the Dutch side, are better than Man United's team. So how can he get into that side but can't get into the Man United side? So it's crazy.
Yeah. But we have talked a little about Paul Pogba. Do you think he should stay at Man United, or is it time for Pogba to go? For United to, because sometimes it seems that he's not interested. He wants to play when the team performs. In the bad games, he doesn't step up like the other players.
Yeah, I don't know whether I don't know him, so I don't know his character. But sometimes you get the feeling that his body language isn't good at times. I mentioned before, on his day he's incredible, but. To be a world-class player, you need to be performing a lot more than what he is. He on his day, he is world-class, but you can't call him a world-class player because he doesn't do it enough. No. 1, 2 out of 10 games. You think about world-class players and you think about Ronaldo and Messi. They've been doing it for 10 years on a regular basis.
Yeah.
He's done it on a limited number of times at Man United, and that's so frustrating, for everyone. And I'm sure even Paul Pogba himself is frustrated because he knows how good he is. So, hopefully he can just find that where he just, in terms of his performances do improve, and he can, help the team, because, at the minute, he's nowhere near a regular starter because he hasn't done enough on the pitch to warrant that.
No, I agree. Where the transfer window passed a month ago, every United supporter and many other players wanted to see Jadon come from Dortmund. What are your thoughts about the transfer window?
Well, we brought in obviously Van de Beek, who's not playing. We brought in Tellez, who had COVID, not long after, so that was disappointing. And we brought in Cavani.
Yeah.
For me, they seem to concentrate a lot on the Jadon Sancho transfer, and for me, that wasn't a priority. The priority for me would have been getting a centre half in.
Yeah.
Okay. I think everybody knows that. I don't think Maguire and Lindelof work together, and I think most people can sort of see that. Tuanzebe is excellent, but he seems to maybe get injured too often, and has been for quite a while. But there's no doubt he's a top player. So for me, the priority would have been getting a centre half in, a defender. you know, there's plenty of names out there that you could go and get, because, you know, we concede too many goals. There's no doubt about it. You know, hopefully, you got somebody like Cavani coming in. We'll give the place a lift. Good that he obviously got off his first goal against Everton there. You know, so we know with his track record, you know, he's been a great goal scorer for years. And he's got great work ethic because he works his socks off, and you can see that. And you know, as a central striker, you know, totally different to somebody like Martial, because you know, Cavani will chase people, you know, defenders, and you know, Martial's not somebody who does that. You know, there's at times where he just doesn't have the right body language as well, where he looks disinterested. And you know, with somebody like Cavani, you know, you need somebody who's going to work the line up there, and hold the ball in. You know, because for me, Martial's not a, you know, I know he came to the club as a striker, but you know, when he actually came, he spent the majority of his time, you know, out wide. And now, you know, he's got that position as a striker, but I don't feel as if he can play that position, because I don't think he's strong enough to hold the ball in at times. He's great when he gets turned and he's running at you, but you know, you need a player maybe like Cavani who can hold the ball up and link, you know, bring players into the game, get the ball wide to the likes of Rashford if he's playing, or Greenwood if he's playing. So yeah, I mean, the transfer window wasn't great for me.
No.
You know, and you know, I think everyone was thinking the Sancho transfer would happen, but you know, if that happened, would that slow down the progress of somebody like Mason Greenwood coming through?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, he's going to be around for years. There's no doubt about it. He's a fantastic player. So, you know, I wasn't too, you know, unhappy that the Sancho transfer didn't happen. I was more unhappy that we didn't go out and buy a centre half.
Yeah, I fully agree. I remember when United had Rooney and Tevez up front with a massive work rate, and they could tear the defenders apart. And you know, when the football is so fast and moves so fast, you need attacking, hard-working players.
Yep, absolutely. You know, I think if you think about you know, great teams of the past, and I don't like to even mention them, Liverpool, you know, when they had Rush and Dalglish up front, you know, their work rate was incredible. And you know, we don't seem to have that. You know, with Martial up there, you know, you defend from the front, and make it difficult for clubs, and especially more so now because of the new rule with taking goal kicks, you know, and you don't have to play it out of the box. Teams try to play out now, so you want people to be working, you know, rather than just letting them play out. So, you know, I think somebody like Cavani, if he's up there, you know, he will make sure that he doesn't give the defenders a second.
Yeah, I agree. And at that age, Cavani is now, I think he will appreciate every game when he plays. You know, like Igalo, when he came to United, in every minute, every training, every game, he will work the socks off. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I know he's 33, maybe coming 34, but you know, he's the same age as Jimmy Vardy. You know, and you know, we don't have to look at what. Yeah, he's a fantastic player, and again works his socks off. Doesn't give defenders a minute. You know, so hopefully Cavani can have a similar impact in the Premiership as what Jamie Vardy's done.
Yeah, I think it's important to, you know, to take care of yourself when you're getting close to that age. You can see Giggsy played, was it until he was 40 or 41? So when he played his last game, and 33 or 36, he had Ronaldo now. He's a massive player still, so one of the best.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know, these players know how to look after themselves and get the maximum out of themselves. And I think managers nowadays know how to look after the older players and give them the days off that they need to recover. You know, because, you know, incredible to sort of look back and think Giggsy played to 41. You know, that's just incredible to be at one football club and being at Man United for that long, because because he knew how to look after himself. And I think, I suppose as well, it helped that his whole career he's worked under one manager. You know, he doesn't have to, the manager knows him inside out. So he knows what his character's like. He knows how to get the best out of him. He knows when to rest him, etc., etc. So, but yeah, it's important, obviously, at a club like Man United that, you know, I think games are going to be coming thick and fast now with, you know, sort of 3 games a week, you know, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, what have you. So the squad's going to be needed. But as I say, it would be nice to actually know what our best 11 was, because at the minute I'm not too sure what it is.
No, I think in the next 14 weeks, I believe that Man United are playing 2 games at least per week. So it's going to be a tough future games for Ole and the team. Yeah,
of course it is. But I suppose a lot of clubs are going to be in the same boat. You know, so I think it's all about the manager. You know, there's going to be a lot of rotation there, squad rotation. You know, and that's where you need big squads nowadays to cope with a lot of fixtures. You know, as I say, we've started off, you know, pretty well in the Champions League, well, apart from, you know, the last game, which in Turkey, which was, you know, an absolute shambles. You know, the 2 performances prior to that, you know, were fantastic. So, you know, we're a sort of team at the minute where you don't know what type of performance we're going to get. You know, you go out to Paris and you win, and then you hammer Leipzig at home, and you think, well, you go to Turkey and this is the team that's probably going to finish bottom of the group. This should be an easy 3 points, and then you put it on a performance like we did. You know, so with a lot of games coming up, you know, there's got to be a lot of chopping and changing and squad rotation, which obviously is understandable. You know, so we'll just have to see how we get through this. You know, we have enough players, you know, to get us through it. So, you know, hopefully the players can just put the performances on the pitch.
Yeah. You are used to be out, you know, in the public eyes all your life. You have written a book called How Not to Be a Football Millionaire. How was it to share such personal stories in a book for the fans and for the people that know you?
Yeah, you know, I think in terms of writing an autobiography, you only get one chance at it, you know, and I think with people who have read mine, the reviews and the feedback I've had have been incredible.
It's a strong book.
Yeah, I think with people reading it, they can see that it's just total honesty in there, and I think, you know, you get that credibility with that. You know, that comes with that. I think you can read some books and you're aware, you know, some other autobiographies, you're aware of instances, and you read the book and you don't get, you know, an insight anymore into what happened. Whereas I made sure that I put everything out there. You know, I've spoke about gambling problems, I've spoke about mental health problems, you know, as well, which is something that's, you know, hopefully has helped people who has read it. And I have had, you know, people contacting me telling me that, you know, that this is the case, that it has helped them. So I'm thankful for that. But, you know, it's something, it's been out now 7 years, quite a while, but I can honestly say the feedback, you know, you get people on Twitter, you know, writing to you, and I've never had one negative feedback in 7 years, which is incredible, you know, because I mean that not one person has sort of had a go at me. I think they've just admired my honesty, which is you know, it's easy for me just to sit there and, you know, I had a ghostwriter do it. And originally we thought we would maybe have to sit together for 20 to 30 hours to get everything. But we were actually over 100 hours in terms of sitting together. You know, so there's obviously a lot of stuff happened to me over the years and a lot of controversy, So it's important, as I say, you get one chance at that to make sure you get it right and get it out there. So, I've been very pleased, as I say, with the feedback that I've had over the years.
Yeah. When I read the book, you can sometimes when you read, you can feel the stories that you tell. And I think that the readers could have experienced the same thing, and they can relate to the stories you tell.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't, with a lot of a lot of what's in there, I don't think you necessarily need to be a football fan to read the book, because there's a lot of obviously personal stuff in there and just human interest. So it's not just for football fans, I would say, or sports fans. It's got a lot of everyday issues in there. So it's something which will appeal to, as I say, not just football or sports people.
Yeah. If I wasn't interested in football, I would catch the book by the title. You must have the title of the decade, How Not to Be a Football Millionaire.
Yeah. That was probably the last thing that we did. We had a lot of time to think about coming up with names of books and the name of the book, and we couldn't come up. And then all of a sudden we thought this here, and then we thought, yep, that's pretty good. So it's an interesting title, but as I say, it's something that might capture somebody in terms of just the title.
It's the best one I ever read. It's massive.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for that one. And just one more question. What are your expectations for Man United this season after, a bit bumpy ride so far?
It's a strange season. I think if you look at where we are in the league, it's been a disappointing start. But, we win a game in hand, the game in hand that we have. And I think we're maybe sitting 4 points behind Liverpool, who are rightfully the favourites to win the league. So you sort of look at it then and you go, 4 points isn't that bad considering, we haven't won a game at home this season. So again, I think the best we can hope for is top four. We're not going to win the league. I don't think many people will think we're going to win the league. We've started well, as I said, in the Champions League, albeit that we lost the last game, but I don't think we're going to win that. We're not the best team in Europe. We're not the best team in England. We're not the best team in Europe. So, we've got to hope that maybe we do well in the cup competition and win some silverware there. But it's important. It's important, obviously, to finish in the top four.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to be top four. It's quite sad actually, the fact that we've been spoiled over the years because we've been going for leagues every year. For most of Alex Ferguson's time in charge, and now we're sort of, our expectations have gone down, and that's what we're hoping for now. Top four. It was what we hoped for last year, and I think they did well to finish third. Because the two teams that finished above us are far superior to what we were, and the points tally showed that. So we done well to finish third, but. It's been a strange season because Leicester again have started well. Spurs have started really well. You're going to have Man City in there. You're going to have Liverpool in there. You're going to have maybe Arsenal in there. You maybe Chelsea in there. I've mentioned 6 already there, and then obviously United. So it's getting harder and harder to finish in that top four. And you might even have another surprise team this season. Maybe Wolves. Somebody like that again might be up there, So it's going to be difficult. So I think the best we can hope for is trying to get top four.
Yeah, I hope they come back as soon as possible. The one thing I miss the most is under Sir Alex, the other team had already lost when they walked through the players' tunnel. Keane was there to come on, he psyched the players up, and the opponent were finished already.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. Coming to Old Trafford, is the problem for teams where they're frightened. There's none of that element anymore where teams are scared to come to Old Trafford, and you know, it was a fortress. Old Trafford was a fortress, and they very rarely lost games there. You know, and to sort of sit and go where we haven't even won a league game at home this season in the league, you know, is really disappointing. So, you know, it's something that you need to address. You need to make it a difficult place to come and play again, and the fans would help. You know, it's not ideal, you know, playing in front of no fans, but you know, it's just the way we are in the current situation, and everybody has to do it. Everybody has to go through that. So we can't use it, you know, that as an excuse, you know, too much. But you know, obviously being in front of 75,000 every week would help. But you know, we really need to improve the home form, because you know, you don't want to fall too far behind those top four places. You know, because we did come with a great run last year. You know, at one stage we were looking like we were never going to get into the top four, and we ended up coming third. So, you know, fantastic end of the season that the players put in. So, you know, hopefully we can just pick up the form, you know, as quickly as we can now.
Fingers crossed.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, Keith. Nice to talk with you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
So if I hope to see you when things are safe again, I'll come to Nord-Irland to see your beautiful country.
Yes, absolutely. No problem at all. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Have a great day. Be safe.
Cheers. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Da håper jeg dere likte denne episoden, eller intervjuet. Det en vanskelig tid hvor man ikke får reist, man får ikke opplevd så mye. Man skulle gjerne møtt alle ansikt i ansikt, så vi gjør det beste ut av det, som vi kan gjøre på Zoom. Husk, trykk på abonner-knappen, trykk på bjella. Det vil alltid være gratis her på United Team, og jobbe daglig med å ha flere prosjekter på gang, så bare følg med. Vi snakkes!